News, events, sports. Same time, same place, right in the heart of Isla Vista. UCSB TV is serving UC Santa Barbara and the surrounding community with real journalism.
Alexandra Goldberg in the studio today, and you're watching UCSB TV. I'm your producer. We're already about halfway into fall quarter, and where did that time go? Well, we have all of the sports news and events reporting you need to stay up to date this week. One of the biggest games of the year, the UCSB Cal Poly men's soccer game, took place last Saturday at Hurtado Stadium. We have that recap with sideline reporting and Gaucho fan interviews. Up next, a protest in downtown Santa Barbara took place last week in solidarity with the women in Iran affected by the Iranian regime, forcing human rights violations on their people. But up first, we have a story on a resource our students can use if they are currently living in their vehicles amid the housing crisis. The Safe Parking Program by New Beginnings provides parking spaces for a safer overnight option. Anchor Pricila Flores has that story.
With Isla Vista's ongoing housing crisis, here's what New Beginnings Safe Parking Program has to offer students. The housing problem in the greater Santa Barbara area and more locally in Isla Vista, which has caused students to resort to living in their vehicles, has brought forth a solution by New Beginnings Safe Parking Program. The New Beginnings Safe Parking Program began in 2004 and provides safe overnight parking for those living in their vehicles. Since Santa Barbara has a strict no sleeping in a vehicle ban, this program aims to give people a space to sleep without worrying about citations.
My name is Christine Schwarz, and I have been Executive Director of New Beginnings for almost 11 years.
What does the program look like with the residents of Isla Vista with the housing crisis that's going on right now?
Sure. Unfortunately, there's a housing crisis everywhere, so every neighborhood in our community is impacted by the housing crisis, and in particular Isla Vista and the city of Goleta. We do have lots that are available for everybody in Isla Vista and in the city of Goleta.
What are some of the services that you provide?
Sure. New Beginnings provides comprehensive housing navigation and housing retention services, and that's under the umbrella of what's called rapid rehousing. The Safe Parking Shelter side of the program works with people who are living out of their vehicles and provides safe overnight shelter for them to park safely and securely.
The program currently manages 154 spaces and 26 parking lots, all which their locations are confidential throughout Santa Barbara, Goleta, and Isla Vista. Thank you for watching. I'm your events anchor, Pricila Flores. We'll see you next time.
That was Pricila Flores reporting on the New Beginnings Safe Parking Program. Up next, sports anchor Hannah Abergel on the field at Hurtado Stadium, UCSB Cal Poly men's soccer.
Hey Gauchos, Hannah Abergel here, your UCSB TV sports anchor at Hurtado Stadium. Today is the blue and green rivalry versus Cal Poly. It's going to be a huge turnout. I mean, last year was a very big turnout as well, but this year there is no COVID restrictions, so they're going to let everyone in. Tune in to watch sport fan interviews, student interviews, as well as athlete interviews. And here we have it, Lucas Gonzalez. How are you feeling after the blue-green rivalry with such a huge capacity and such a huge crowd tonight?
I mean, there's no words to explain the support that we have here at Hurtado Stadium. The crowd was on our side for all 90 minutes. It was too bad we couldn't come out with the win, but it was a good fight until the end from the boys.
What goes on in the locker room right before a game like this?
We just try to keep our heads, keep our composure, worry about the game and not so much the fans, and try to make it as much of a soccer game as possible.
And what would you say is your biggest takeaway from this blue-green rivalry?
Probably just to be thankful for the moment. Not a lot of schools or people get to experience this, so we're very, very lucky.
All right, Lucas. Well, you killed it out there. You did all you can, and we're all so proud of you. Great game, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
And I'm Hannah Abergel for UCSB TV. Thank you for tuning in.
That was Hannah Abergel at Hurtado Stadium reporting on the blue-green rivalry. But there's more to come. We have anchor Rebecca Fairweather in the field downtown Santa Barbara at a recent protest in solidarity with the people of Iran.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Hurtado Fairweather, and I'm your news anchor, and you're watching UCSB TV. The suspicious death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini sparked protest and outrage across the globe. On this week's story, UCSB TV covered the protest in solidarity with Iranian women that took place last October 22nd in downtown Santa Barbara, hosted by UCSB's Iranian academic community.
Protesters from all over Santa Barbara County made their way to State Street on October 22nd to march in solidarity with the women affected by the political turmoil in Iran. The protest was led by UCSB's Iranian academic community and attracted hundreds of people. In 1981, Iran made it a mandatory law that all women are required to wear a scarf and robe in public. To enforce the law, morality police were set in place around the country. The hijab law and the tactics of the morality police have long been challenged by women all over the world, but the pushback has recently become a force difficult to control for the Iranian regime. Mahsa Amini was detained by police earlier in September for failing to abide by the hijab law, but her mother states that she was in fact observing the rules. Iran security forces claim she collapsed from a heart attack at the detention center and died, yet witnesses claim security forces had beaten Amini to death. Amini's death has sparked numerous protests and uprising within Iran and a ripple effect for the rest of the world to follow. Already frustrated with Iran's current economic despair, these protests have since been fueled after Iranian security services cracked down on protesters, killing two 16-year-old girls, and after the massacre now known as Bloody Friday, where the Iranian government killed 66 to 96 people, according to Amnesty International. The country is now in a state of blackout where details of protests and Iranian retaliation are no longer accessible, leading many to fear for the lives and safety of the Iranian people. To gain more traction on these human rights violations, protests have begun to pop up all over the world, most notably Berlin, Washington, D.C., L.A., and right here in Santa Barbara.
Women in my country from the age 7, they are deprived from their basic rights. As a matter of fact, they can't go to, for example, a stadium. They have to wear hijab from the age 7, otherwise they can't go to school, they can't get educated. They can, for example, they are banned from cycling. That's why women are tired of this madness, and they want an end to this terrorist regime. And I think women all around the world should hear their voice. Right now there is a total internet blackout in my country. So I think they should be the voice of voiceless people in my country. If they are feminists, if they are women's rights activists, they have to be their voice, because if they do that, they are sending also this message to their own country that don't dare to touch our rights in our country, because we stand for women's rights in a country thousands of miles far from our country. So they know that this is very important, and they will not do that.
Perfect, thank you. As the violence continues in Iran, the world will not remain complacent in human rights violations, and neither will Santa Barbara. With UCSB TV, I'm Rebecca Hurtado Fairweather, your news anchor.
You just heard Rebecca Fairweather reporting on the protest for Iran that took place in downtown Santa Barbara. Catch us next week with more stories to come. Thanks for tuning in with UCSB TV. I'm Alexandra Goldberg.